Hello everyone, welcome to the Ask Barry V Show. We have a very special edition today. We're actually in Atlanta, Georgia area in a place called Powder Springs, Georgia at a Premier Martial Arts studio, and we're having a martial arts training event for our premier clients. We have about 42 instructors for really just this area, kind of in and around the Atlanta area. And what we're doing this week is we're training in our curriculum, particularly Krav Maga, taking our instructors through different levels of the Krav Maga certification and training, making sure that the instructors know the curriculum extremely well and how to teach it, right? That's all about building value for our school, building value to our students and retention. So today's show, I've got some guest instructors. I thought instead of just shooting a normal show, I'll take advantage of having some awesome school owners here. Now, 3 of the school owners are top school owners in the country and in England. 1 school owner is new to Premier Martial Arts, so you're going to kind of get a flavor of different areas of success. So we're going to get started, and I'll introduce the guys as we go over questions that they have, okay? And then some of the owners may chip in and help answer the question as well, all right? So who's got the first question?
I'll go first.
Okay.
You came to the UK last year, and you came to my school, and we went to a national martial arts event. I was just wondering if you see any differences between the UK martial arts industry and over here.
Okay. Let me remind you guys, I'm the only one mic'd up, so everybody else is going to pick your voice up from the camera. So kind of speak up a little bit. By the way, look in the camera, wave hello to everyone. This is Ricky Lamb from Great Britain. Ricky Lamb has a school, 300 plus students. He's doing high gross revenue every month. I know it's weird. I hate to mention how much somebody's doing because really some owners don't want you to know how much money they're making, right? So let's just say high, okay? So, let's say, he's in the $50,000 range, US dollar range, okay? So that's extremely awesome. So could be a little more, could be a little less. So I didn't say exactly how much it was. So yes, I was over there last April, and I've been over there several. So you're kind of wondering what I thought about the difference in what I see of the UK owners versus the US owners and how they operate and so forth? Or
Yes, sir. Yeah.
Okay. By the way, the UK school owners, when we were over there, always so hospitable, so polite, very welcoming. So, get that out there right away. I do know the UK school owners really focus, like if there's an event and it's martial arts related, man, boom, they're there. If it's an event sometimes on the business, sometimes not so many. We went to probably an event last year of one of the top billing and consulting companies in Great Britain, and there were like 50, 60 school owners there. So that kind of, and I'm sure if that would have been a tournament or a martial arts training, and there are some great fighters over there, and those guys, it would have been lots more. So that's probably one thing. U.S. owners are probably looking at the business systems and taking that extremely serious and focusing on it, bringing their staff members to it. But the one thing that I did get that I sometimes disagree with, and me and you debate this, we don't debate it, I think we're on the same page. We debate other people in Great Britain, is they're like, or in Canada, I get the Canadian schools do the same thing. Oh, this is Great Britain. Things are done different here. Your U.S. systems won't work here in Great Britain. $50,000 gross revenue a month, 300 students, and you're running Premier Martial Arts International systems, and you're getting that kind of result is proof that what works here in the U.S. works in Great Britain. So, the Great Britain schools, when you hear another English consultant or English school owner go, let's stay English, let's not pay attention to that. You might want to visit Mr. Lamb's school for the weekend and check out what's going on there. Because you know what? I think we're all people and everywhere's the same. I come over there and I see all the same restaurants. I see Starbucks. The world is shrinking, man, with social media and digital marketing and, all the stuff that's going on. The world keeps shrinking. Everywhere's getting closer and closer alike. Not only in the society, but mentality. So that's probably one thing that I see is just the thought that what works here might not work here or doesn't work in Canada. Canada especially, they're right here on our border, and I'll just leave it at that. So sometimes they don't care for what's happening here, but it's all the same place, man. So that's my opinion on that. Okay.
Just to kind of jump on that too, a lot of times people hear that kind of numbers, they think, I've heard people say, well, you're selling out, you're just trying to get a lot of students in. Quality of martial arts, this guy's awesome. His students are awesome. I mean, everybody at this table, we're here training.
You know,
so, I mean,
number
I
of
think you can have both,
students,
you know?
number of students and quality of martial arts has absolutely nothing to do with each other.
Exactly.
Okay, I know guys that teach terrible martial arts, have terrible students, but they have a lot of them, and they're making a lot of money. And then I know guys that have extremely sharp students, they're amazing martial artists, and they're barely making it, right? So the two doesn't have to go, it's all about value. Value and caring how awesome that classroom runs, value and caring about the business and spending time towards your business. I put up a quote that I saw on Facebook. It's basically, you can't be a millionaire on a pauper or a poor person's work ethic. You know, or something to that effect that's on my page. So, and that's so true. You know, it's all about those types of things that make all the difference. By the way, this is Aaron Hensley. So, say hello to everybody. Aaron Hensley is in Augusta, Georgia. What was your gross revenue last month in March?
$82,000.
$82,000. Okay. Now, you know what I get a lot of? I think there's a group they're a sharp group of consultants. I have nothing, but they don't like paid in fulls, right? You couldn't have brought in $82,000 without taking paid in fulls in 1 month, right?
Right.
So again, this was in the last show. It was in episode 17 or whatever. But it's what you do with that money.
Right.
That once you get it, that makes all the difference. So down payments, paid in fulls. You know, that's how the guys are making those kinds of dollars.
So to kind of jump on that, so this is my 7th year, about to be 8 years in Premier, and every year that I've been in Premier, I can say that my personal income has gone up every single year. I just found out good news today, even on that. About to open my 4th school in July of this year. So my question is now, as I'm getting bigger operation, what are the pitfalls that a multi-school operator, once you start making good money, what are some of the pitfalls that we can fall into that I haven't seen yet?
You know, initially I would be talking about you got to make sure your systems are tight.
Right.
Everything can be duplicatable, and you have to be able to pull yourself completely out of all 4 schools and have managers and you be running the show. But you're already doing that because I know you, right? So that really didn't answer your question. But I said last week, I think on the show, somebody asked me something about he's opening a new school from beginning. And I said, when you make your decisions now on the opening of the first school you've ever had, try to make your decisions based on the decision that would work in 5 locations and not just 1. So you're already there, already done that. So, you know, another common mistake that school owners make that is a downfall is when it comes to taxes. You know, they misrepresent payroll tax, right? So they're paying 1099 or contract labor on instructors or employees, and I've never met a kickboxing fitness instructor that comes in for an hour a night and leaves and teaches a class that you didn't even really have to teach her how to teach it. She's contract labor. Otherwise, if you're putting them on a schedule, if you're training them in any way, they're an employee. So, you know, all it takes is a complaint from an employee to spark an investigation into from the Department of Labor. They find out all these people in the past, 3-5 years has been contract labor, and all of a sudden you got to go back and pay back payroll tax and penalties and interest, and that can shut down a school, or an organization. And then, of course, income tax. Never fails. I never understand, so-and-so hasn't paid income tax in 3 years. I wouldn't have slept a wink. If I don't pay income tax on April 15th, I'm not sleeping until it's paid. I can't even understand that. And then I talk to a school, I haven't paid income tax in about 3 years. What? How are you not in jail already, right? So anyway, that kind of thing.
Right.
Making sure that and then another thing that will kill a school owner's is personal life. And I don't want to get into that because everybody has stories, but half of whatever you got can go away quickly if you don't pay attention. You guys know what I'm talking about, right? And so, just their personal life. School owners, especially that make money fast, man, they got all this money and they got all these students and there's all these people and all these women in your school and single mothers and all this stuff's going on and you're the man, and all of a sudden that stuff can get, it's like being a movie star sometimes in your own little world, and boom, before you know it, you're in trouble, right? So personal life stuff can also mess up a school owner. Right? Why you keep laughing, Mr. Reed?
I'm just laughing.
I said not this guy.
But I got a question for you. I'm the new guy at the table. And part of the reason why I joined, now I'll say this, I've known you a long time.
Right.
So I'm not new knowing you. But one of the reasons I'm here with Premier right now is because of the success that people are having running the business systems. Now, I'm that person who's out there, or was that person who was out there who you were marketing to for a lot of times. I'm the person who ran traditional martial arts school. This is my 24th year of business operations, which means I've survived myself a long time. But probably haven't made over a long period of time all the money that I'd like to make. Obviously with you guys, because I can see people running the systems, generating the type of income that you would like to make from running a martial arts school. So my question is, and I recognize it's different for each person, but on average, because you spent so much time doing this and consulting with people so many years, how long does it take for let's just say traditional school, okay, to make the changes necessary to be able to operate and generate the type of income that your high-end operators are making?
Okay, so that is a great question, and I've got great living proof sitting right here at this table. Okay, let me first introduce Michael Reed. Mr. Reed, you played football at University of Wisconsin?
I am a Badger, that is correct.
Right, and he played 6 years for the Atlanta Falcons. What position?
Linebacker.
Linebacker, okay, that makes sense. 6 years in the NFL is a long time, man.
Right.
So what an awesome career and
And the right team.
and the right team to be here in Georgia area for sure. I'm going to answer your question. You know, the real answer to that is I've seen guys go from zero to hero
Yes,
fast.
right.
You know, so it's understanding what's important. So many times I get people on the phone and I start consulting them, or they come into Premier Martial Arts if they're not coming into the franchise, they're a consulting client, and I'm working with them. I just had this happen. And this school owner literally has 50 students. He borrowed money to be able to consult with me from a friend of his, trying to change things fast, right? But the things that he wanted to talk about and the things that he wanted to do had nothing to do with getting new students fast or increasing the gross revenue or the 6 income generators from the students when they come in the door. Right? It was this weird thing like, you know, mass intro, which presentation? Well, how you haven't had a successful mass intro ever. Does it matter which presentation right now that you need to be doing? You know, and software and statistics. You know, of course we keep statistics, but man, with 40 students or 50 students and you got to borrow money to get help. Keeping up with your management manual or statistics or which software you're using right now is the least of your worries, right? So a lot of it is the decision making on the school owner of where he needs to start and the intensity in which he acts. Mr. Rook, how long have you been with Premier?
So I think it's going on 4, close to 5.
Okay.
Going on 5 years.
Okay, so a little over 4 years he's been with Premier. Now remember, in our consulting program, our high-end consulting program, Leader's Edge, those clients get the same business systems as Premier. So forget about Premier Martial Arts right now. Tim was teaching in a couple daycares 2 days a week after school programs.
Just one.
Just one.
Yeah.
Okay, I always got that wrong then.
That's okay.
Okay, so he had 30 students and he's going to a place on a Tuesday, Thursday, and he's teaching these kids like a certain age group, then another age group or something. 4 years later, he's knocking on 300 students, right? $32,000 a month gross revenue was or 38 was last month, I forget.
Right around 35, 38.
$35,000 gross revenue last month, right? And he's killing it, right? And getting ready to been focusing on his second location, which is our S1X franchise model. So, you know, 4 years, you're thinking, wow, 4 years is a long time to get, but he's been successful and he's hitting those kind of numbers for a long time. I mean, you went from, in the first year, what was your results? Do you remember? That's kind of a tough one.
So yeah, maybe to help answer your question too is like we grew fast, like too fast for my own britches, you could say, right? Like it was quick. So, but basically as soon as I joined Premier, we went from having about maybe 50, 60 students to very quickly getting up to 200 students within a year from joining Premier.
Yeah.
And then now we're right around 300. And really, I guess my advice would be just, you know, choose the systems wisely, which ones you're going to be implementing. And that's why we have you is, you know, just right along the line of, tell me this is what I need to be implementing right now.
Right.
And then with that, you know, just one small change at a time, over time becomes.
But guys, remember, you know, going from 40 or 50 students in an after-school program, and really all you're making from them is the monthly tuition. Now, a year later, You have your own building. You had moved within the first year, right?
Yeah,
Or close
like-
to it.
Right out, you helped me get a lease, and then right after we got out of the daycare, we grew quickly to the 200, and then we moved to a bigger facility after that.
Right. So within a year, to go into a full-time facility, take those 40 or 50 students into that school, grow it by another 150, but more importantly, implement the business systems that allow you to make real money on those number of students. Those of you that are listening, our S1X model, our new franchise model, you only need the model is 160 students and you're maxed out. It's time to go open up another location. And that's going to be, a $30,000 to $35,000 gross revenue at 160 students. So the number of students isn't that important. It's the business systems, it's the quality of classes and the retention that's important. Okay?
I'm just gonna, you said traditional background is kind of where you came from. That's what I started from before I came to Premier. Had 33 students. I never made more than $30,000 in my life in a year. 30 year in Premier, I made 6 figures for the first time. It doesn't take a long time if you work the systems and just have faith and trust and just obviously not be afraid to work hard, which you're not afraid of that.
This is kind of a cool group, okay, except for me, right? Ricky was in Chinese kung fu films. You were with in a movie
Batman
with,
too.
huh?
He was in
No,
Batman.
you were in the movies with who? Like
I did the
Jet
few-
Li and
No, well, just a few Hong Kong.
Hong Kong movies?
Hong Kong movies, yeah.
okay, cool.
He was in Batman
And
Begins.
you're a black belt under the Chuck Norris,
Chuck Norris, yes sir.
right? And then of course Atlanta Falcons football player. And then me and you, we're just awesome.
Yeah.
We just
Yeah.
awesome day in day out, walk around awesome.
Yeah.
Just
Can't help it.
martial artists to the core.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Any other questions?
My question, I guess, for you is, so now that we're getting to a larger school scale, keeping that small school feel, do you have any advice or things that we can do to try to help connecting with our students and building that rapport?
Take it flashing to a business lesson that turns into just a lesson about everything. Marketing is tying an emotion to a brand or product. Anytime you're trying to sell something, you're trying to tie an emotion to it, right? So, Coca-Cola tries to tie in the happy Coke life and everything's awesome when we're drinking Coca-Cola, right? Back in the day, cigarettes, they're trying to tie an emotion into it that you're super cool when you smoke our cigarette, be cool like us. And in every product, you can look and think, what emotion is that company trying to tie in and get us to feel? Well, our martial arts school is the same way. Every time an instructor steps out on that class, you're trying to tie certain emotions to your martial arts class and your overall martial arts school. So what is the feeling that you're wanting your people to get? Well, what we're doing is selling. I know I talk about marketing. Well, how's marketing got to do with retention and so forth? We're always reselling ourselves to our students and the value of what we do to our students and parents. Every time we step out on the floor, every time we teach a new technique, we're in an instructor college for Krav Maga this week. We're talking about pre-framing the technique and tying an emotion. We're teaching a self-defense. Well, maybe we're talking about something very serious. So we're even tying in maybe fear, okay, so that they pay attention and it doesn't happen to them. Sometimes in the kids' classes, we're tying in confidence and fun and excitement. So being able to tie in those emotions builds value to the students and to the parents. So we're always building value. One of the guys in one of the shows the other day asked something about, some guy was copying all the stuff he was doing. Well, forget about it. Don't worry about it. Build value in what you're doing. Over-service your students to the power of 10. Retention comes, referrals come, money comes. All of it comes together when you put your students first. And I know you do an awesome job of that. Conversely, don't forget that even the best martial arts schools lose students. More students you have, Tim, you're getting close to 300 students. 5%, let's say you lose 5%, no one has a real figure on this. They always throw around a retention ratio of 5 to 7 is average. 3% losing that per month is really good, right? So let's just say 5%. That's 15 students a month. On average, you're going to lose every month just to maintain your school. Everything above that is growth. that would be one thing that school owners should really be thinking about in your position. Because I remember you contacted me not so long, maybe it was you, I don't know, I get confused sometimes. Somebody was worried about retention on their student body. I'm like, dude, you only lost 12 people last month. You know, you have 300 students or almost 300. Relax, that's pretty good. You can't keep everybody. Everybody's going to quit eventually, you know.
Just to go back to your question, I've been with Premier for around about 8 years now, and I, you know, I've not always been where I am, obviously. Okay, and I would say part of the reason was because for about the first 5 years or so, I was a typical kind of, you know, I would say British school owner where I would just be picking at stuff that, you know, Mr. Banner would like, do this, and I'm like, oh, I don't quite like that, I'll do this instead.
That's not going to work here.
Yeah, I'm not going to implement, this doesn't work, it's too American. But then about 3 years ago, 2.5 years ago, I said to Mr. Vanover that, you know what, I'm just going to pretend that I'm going to be your employee, and you tell me exactly what to do, and I'm just going to do it, you know, because at the end of the day, what's there to lose? Right. And since I've done that, then, you know, the gross revenue has quadrupled, you know, student count has doubled, you know, so yeah, you know, implement the full systems and listen to Mr. Vanover.
And I think that's a good way to close it in that, or close our session today. Is that it's not about how long, it's about what you're doing. You know, somebody's going 0 to hero fast. Your second location is
not even 2 years old yet.
What did it do last month?
32,000.
32 grand. It's not
1,500 square foot.
1,500 square foot.
Yeah.
160. How many students?
145.
145 students, and it did 32 grand in a year and a half.
Yeah.
How many of you guys out there have martial arts schools for years and can't do nowhere near 32 grand? And I know your expenses, because that's an S1X model, is extremely low, and the profit is extremely high. Right? And then Ricky's being honest with us. He had all the information for 8 years, but he didn't use it, and then all of a sudden decided to, and boom, right? So,
just going to say that, and not trying to be a commercial for martial arts management, but what I love about this is you own schools yourself. So this is not in theory.
And still opening up schools.
And you're still opening schools. You're here training this weekend doing Krav Maga certification. You're living proof. And a lot of times people in leadership, a lot of times it's, you know, do as I say, not as I do. And so I think that just seeing you still put this stuff into practice, one, it makes you human, I think, too, and we can relate to you that way better. But you're proving everything you're teaching all the time. I saw you teach at Mass Intro last week.
That's right.
And we had 16 kids there, signed up 6 of them or so, and it was just proof positive that this stuff works.
Well, and some people are like, oh, if that dude's got to be teaching mass intros, he can't be that successful. I didn't have to teach the mass intro, right? It was at one of my schools, and I happened to have nothing to do on a Saturday morning, and I'm like, hey, let me go over there, you know, let me sign up 8 students out of the 13 that showed up. Because that's what I do, right? Where I'm a martial artist, I'm a school owner, and that's what I love to do.
Leadership doing that still.
Well, thank you. I gotta keep that 6-pack, baby. I gotta work out. Now tomorrow during the test, when I'm getting my ass beat, you know, you might not think the same thing, but right now I appreciate that. All right, guys. You know what, guys? Thank you so much for helping me with this today. I hope some school owners got some insight on what's going on, guys. If you have any questions, you know, you're more than welcome to email me, CEO@barryvanover.com. Go to our website at martialartsmg.com, and I will talk to you next time.